Okay. Hi guys, I'm Tom from TomKuLive, and today I have Hannah, who is the founder of LBank and also the founder of the DEX project. So LBank is a top exchange from China, and DEX is a decentralized settlement platform. And I already interviewed Lois from DEX, and Hannah is actually Lois boss. So let's begin with it. I think that was unnecessary, but anyway. Thank you very much for participating. Okay, can you just briefly introduce, LBank, because it's an exchange, and I think most people will know what an exchange is. But for instance, what is your global position right now, and what kind of innovative features you have, or anything that you can brag about.
Yeah. Actually, it's like 4 years ago I entered in the blockchain industry, and at that time I know only Bitcoin. And after 1 year, I'm thinking about exchange is a good idea to start my own business. So 3 years ago, I gathering a technology team, all the technology person are from Shanghai Stock Exchange. You know that. So. We have such a strong technology team, and then we spend like 1 year to build up the whole system, the centralized exchange system. And the challenge for them actually is the wallet system or the public chains. It's easy to use Bitcoin and the Ethereum wallet system, but it's really hard to use other public chain like Neo, Quantum. It's not so good, and a lot of problem with them. But we finally conquered the challenges, and our exchange is now ranked like top 10 worldwide. But last year, I'm always thinking about as we store more and more digital assets of our users on our platform, we become ATM of the hacker. You know that?
Right, yeah.
And it's the same situation in Korea and everywhere. So we are thinking about we should decentralize our exchange. And then here comes the DEX project. So basically, DEX is the technical provider of LBank. It provides a centralized trading system. It also provides a decentralized clearing and settlement system for LBank.
Yeah, but I mean, the hacking, it's not only from the outside, right? I mean, inside hacking is also a huge problem, right?
Yes.
I mean, do you think with DEX, you think you guys are able to kind of, avoid it?
I don't think so,
Yeah.
actually. Because, the inside hacking, there's a problem of how you manage the company and how you do the inside risk control of your technology person, and how you to monitor their work during you build up the system.
I mean, that's the reason why these big companies have, a very rigorous structure of compliance, right? Because I worked at Ernst & Young, a global company, and it was always about compliance, because the biggest risk always comes from inside, not the outside. And as regards exchanges, I think that's going to be still a huge problem. I mean, how to make sure that the insiders cannot destroy the system. You understand what I'm saying, right? But another thing is, so basically, I mean, the DEX idea, I think it's a very good idea to split out the settlement function from the exchange, but at the same time, I mean, it's kind of actually cannibalizing yourself. You know that, right? Because you have your own LBank big exchange, and if you kind of outsource the settlement process, right, from a business perspective, it looks like cannibalizing actually the business, right? And then the other thing we can think about is what about the transaction fees? Because already the centralized system will charge, and then by connecting to
transaction fee.
When they trade or withdraw, I mean, I'm just talking about overall the process. I mean, because there's always a transaction fee involved, because nothing is for free, right? But then you connect it to the DEX, and settlement is done actually in the DEX, and I mean, how can you still be competitive? You understand what I'm saying, right? Because you have to consider your competitors, because the competitors, they will just do it in one box, They will do clearance, they will do settlement, and then they charge accordingly, right? But in your case, I mean, it's actually because different companies. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. So there's two questions, and the first one is how to keep it secure when we talk about inside risk. Actually, the whole idea is to separate everything from the beginning, like KYC, and then how to store the assets, and how to do the trading matchmaking, and then clearing, then settlement. We separate everything, and different people do different things. Actually, clearing and settlement is can be done by a centralized exchange, but it's done by the like financial department or risk control department. So the idea is now we are the third party of a financial department. We are not inside the centralized exchange, and we are a third party, and we serve all the exchanges on the market. So we will not hook up with anyone inside the exchange. So do the maybe hack things, but when the financial department is inside the centralized exchange, they can do everything because they are so powerful. They can get into the system, and they can know the user's assets, the assets amount. They can know everything, and they can also hold the part of the private key of the user's digital assets. So that's a problem. But now we want to give back the private key to the users, and they keep it themselves, or they can choose a trustable partner to hold that. That's the idea.
Okay.
And for the second question, how we can compare with other exchanges, or how we can get into this market. Actually, it's easy for us to collaborate with LBank and other exchanges. We provide technical support. So we will use that advantage. We will provide a trading system, the centralized trading system for other exchanges. And in the meantime, we will provide a decentralized wallet for them as well. But for other users, we will give them the token reward. And when the users use the personal users, they use our wallet, they will get a token reward for maybe holding the assets, or be the maker or taker for in the order book. So that's the whole idea.
Okay, and
everything they do in the exchange, they will get a reward.
But if you, I totally agree that one way to actually make the system more secure is to split it, right? But then, the other thing could be, two things. First the operation efficiency, and the second thing is actually it could create new vulnerabilities, because if you put it in one place and really make it secure, you understand what I'm saying, right? It could be more secure than splitting it up, and then you have to take care of all the security of all different separate functions. That could be a problem, couldn't it be? What do you think about that? There's always the pros and cons. The good thing is when you split it, there's it really kind of make it hard for the insider to actually play dirty, right? But at the same time, maybe it's just the efficiency problem then, because if it's concentrated on one place, it's more efficient actually.
So we have to use system to instead of manually working, or instead of person. Usually we use person to do the clearing work. We hire a financial person and calculate everything, but there's always mistake. So we use a system to do that. We don't use people.
Right. Okay. By the way, can you just define the process of clearing versus settle? Because it just occurred to me that some people wouldn't understand the difference between clearing and settling. Yeah.
Yes. Actually, clearing is like suppose you're a user, you want to withdraw some money from an exchange. The exchange department, the financial department, they will look into your account and see if you have that amount of money, then you can do the withdrawal. But if you don't have it, then you cannot, right? So that's a basic idea of clearing. But in the real world, the case is more complicated, and that's what financial department do. So in another case, it's risk control. Like sometimes a user's account can be hacked in and used by a hacker. And usually we will see account, maybe it has like 1 million of RMB, and suddenly it has only 10%, and the account withdraw everything. So that's very strange. And the risk control department or the financial department, they should see the problem and to stop that. That's their duty. So in our system, we also have some basic rules. If there is any strange behaviors when the account withdraws its money, we will stop that.
And settlement is just really settling the deal,
Yes.
right? But another question I had is actually, I should have asked lawyers before, but so right now the DEX is actually about the settlement, right?
Yes.
So my understanding,
Also about custodian.
custodian.
Yes.
Yeah, custodian means that they're actually really holding
Yes, holding
the
private
cryptocurrencies.
key, holding the private key of the digital assets or users' money.
I thought the private keys were actually given to each users of the exchange.
Yeah, but it's not the situation now, because when we talk about centralized exchange, because the private key of users are centralized, held by the exchange. They are all stored by the exchange. That's why we call them centralized exchange. So the idea of decentralized exchange is to give back the private key to the users, and the users can keep it themselves. But I think it's not the perfect idea, because you can lose your private key. You can forget the password maybe. So the best idea is to separate the private key into maybe 3 parts, and the 3 parts is like 3 keys, and once 2 of the 3 keys shows up, and you can open it. So it's a more safe idea.
Because if you would lose one,
yeah,
you still
if
have
you lose
2.
one, you still have 2.
But I mean, the thing that I didn't understand is that I kind of thinking right now. I actually don't think that I had a very clear idea, because right now by DEX, actually the exchanges that will be put upon DEX, they won't have any cryptocurrencies, because the cryptocurrency is held by your wallet, by the DEX wallet. And then what made, for instance, what I understood is that actually the centralized system is the same, just number, unless the customer will send her Bitcoin to another exchange. In that case, it's different, because then you have to send it. But if it's just within the exchange, it's just a number game, right? I mean, 1 go, -1, +1, like this, right? But what about the DEX? How's the DEX, process, in that transaction?
We cannot forbid that. The centralized exchanges, they can also fake the transaction volume, but it do have some cost. So it's not free for them. So basically, it will, to some extent, it can prove that it can forbid the fake transaction volume. But it's not 100%.
Yeah, because it's on the blockchain, right?
Yes.
So everything is recorded,
Yeah.
so they cannot lie about it, right?
Yes.
But what about the wallet? I mean, within the wallet, how does the Bitcoin moves? Because one exchange, okay? I mean, I to you, I sent you, we
Actually,
traded a bit.
it's not a Bitcoin being transacted on chain. I mean, on the public chain of Bitcoin. Actually, it's a number on the DEX public chain. And we can see the transaction records on DEX public chain. And every transaction, the fee will charge by the public chain of DEX. That's why we can reduce the transaction fees. Because it's not go through the Bitcoin chain or
Right,
Ethereum
yeah.
chain.
Yeah, right. Unless you send the Bitcoin to another exchange,
Yes.
which is not a member of DEX,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Okay. So I mean, right now, how do you see the market? Because ICO market is really bad right now, and I mean, there's even a rumor that some people saying that there won't be any ICO anymore. And right now, my impression is that actually ICOs are not definitely ICOs because they're more like private sales, and ICO seems like just for a show. I mean, you're in the market, so what do you think, how about the current ICO market and the future ICO market?
I think it's temporary because, in the past 4 years, I've go through the market, the whole market, and it goes up, goes down, and actually you can look into the price of Ethereum because we know each ICO they use Ethereum to gather in the money and to issue their own
Right.
tokens. Yeah, and. You can see from the price of Ethereum, it shows how crazy the market goes. And when the price goes up, everyone is using Ethereum to invest. But when people don't want to invest, so the price is going down. So once the price of Ethereum is stable, it shows the market is calm down. And more people will again they want to invest because the price of Ethereum is already very low and they can buy Ethereum by fiat at a very low price and they can invest again but at a very low price. So that's a time the market will goes up again. I think it's like I think it will happen in 1 or 2 years.
Then why do you see that the coin price right now is so low? I mean, Bitcoin is the only coin right now. It's actually kind of showing some positive volatility sometimes, but the other coins like Ether or Bitcoin Cash, all of them are suffering. I mean, why do you think it's the reason for that?
I think because they are all security tokens. Just like, some stock markets, there's no enough liquidity in this market. It's the same situation now in ICO market. So this token, they are not being used in real world. So everyone trading this token, they are only thinking about making money, but they don't use it in real world. So once a token is linked with the real world, you can use it maybe buy a bottle of water or buy a house, buy a car. Then the price of the token will be really high, and the price will be stable because it is more like a fiat, but not just a security token.
So what I think is actually, I mean, I hope it's going to be stabilizing soon, because otherwise, utility token, doesn't make sense, right? I mean, for a utility token really to take off, I mean, the token should be stabilized first, the value of it. Otherwise, it's speculative. And what do you think is the actually kind of in your mind, the appropriate level of Ether, for instance? How much do you think is appropriate?
You mean the price of
Yeah.
Oh,
The stabilizing point.
I think there is much way to go down because we know the cost of.
I twitch right now.
Okay.
You make me nervous.
Because we can calculate the cost of Bitcoin. It's like 3 to 4,000 US dollar per Bitcoin. It's the cost of miners, but the cost of Ethereum is much lower. And once people don't use Ethereum to do ICO, the price it will be very good. So I think Ethereum has a long way to go than Bitcoin.
Okay.
Bitcoin will first be stable, and then Ethereum, and then the other coins.
I mean, the other thing we can think about, because I talked a couple of times to Roger V as well, and I mean, it's a different philosophy, right? Because Bitcoin Cash, for instance, is really into using it as a cash, whereas what he thinks is that Bitcoin Core is more like asset. But I mean, maybe that's working right now because all the coins are kind of, at the bottom, but Bitcoin is still, but who knows, right? But another thing I actually wanted to ask you is about the ICO process. So do you think the ICO will become like it used to be in 2017, like really, retail investors participating, in the funding process, or do you think it's going to be more like traditional IPOs?
I think it depends on which area are you talking about, or which country. Because different countries have different strategies. You mean you can see that in China everything is forbidden, and in Korea and Japan it's the central bank to do the regulation, right? So it takes Bitcoin and Ethereum like fiat or some kind of online gold, but in other countries like Thailand, that's a SEC to do the regulation, and also in America, you can see that. So they will regulate the market just like the stock market. So in that countries, in those countries, the ICO will be more like IPO, and there will be a specific apartment to do the compliance work.
Okay, another. I mean, I have so many questions, but I'm taking up too much time of yours. What was that about LBank? Yeah, I mean, in case of LBank, so what about the regulation? Because there's no regulation right now, right? So are you self-regulated, and how do you? I mean, is there some kind of standard exchange regulation out there that is made by top exchanges, or I mean, how do you set the level of scrutiny and compliance?
Actually, for exchange itself, it's a complicated question because it's the problem of making money, cost, and self-regulated. So I think before the government regulation come up, the regulation in this industry will be done by some third parties, like some law firm and audit companies. They will do the regulation or due diligence for all these projects, and they are more trustable in this market than exchanges themselves.
And what about? I always had this question in my mind, because Binance, or LBank. I mean, they're really huge global exchanges, and I mean, your customers are not only Chinese, right? I mean, there are a lot of foreigners as well, right? I mean, it's really globalized. Why do you think Chinese exchanges are so outperforming in this market?
You mean
so rapidly?
The global market?
Yeah.
Actually, one reason is the regulation in China is so strict, so
Right.
they cannot survive only in China. That's why they go abroad and to spread the global market. And another thing is different users are very helpful to the centralized exchanges. Or we can see they can balance each other. They can make the transactions more balanced. Because different users, they have different philosophies on trading. So when all the users hold the same idea, the market it will be looks like just going down or going up. It's one direction. But once different users hold different ideas, the market become complicated and more opportunities to make money.
So you guys leverage that kind of feature well? I mean, do you think that's one of the key secrets of your success?
Yeah, I think it's one of them. And other features are that we are strong in technology and security, and we list all the best tokens like Filecoin and Zcash. We almost the first exchange to list that coins.
So how big is your listing department? I mean, I'm more talking about the evaluation department, because you only want to put on, the good coins. Of course, if a coin is already traded on a very big, exchange, I mean, that's a sign, that's good, right? But it's not definite. It's not definite, right? So you will have your own standard, right? I mean, how big is it? And when you see a potential listing, coin, I mean, how do you make the decision?
Actually, in the listed department, there's only 5 people, and they will vote for each project. But besides this team, we will also do the IT security compliance. It's not done by the listing team. It's done by the technical department, and they will look into every code of the contract or the public chain or their wallet. So we will also rely on some third party like law firm and audit companies.
Okay, and I mean, right now it seems like a fashion for these exchanges, like Fcoin. I mean, creating their own coin, staking it. Yeah, but you never had that kind of plan in your.
No, never. Because they are using the feature money to award their users now. So it's not healthy.
Okay, all right. I think that's all I have. Actually, I had some other questions, but I can't think of it. Can we just talk about the last point though, again? So, I mean, why do you think it's problematic? Because when or they have their coins, right? I mean, it's like they are mining it while trading, right? And then they can use it as put up as a stake, and then they can use it for voting, which coin to list. And I mean, what is the problem with that? Because I mean, the mechanism itself. Yeah, it's problematic, right? Because if you want to, I mean, from all the other parts, actually, if you want to use it as a voting system, that has the assumption that actually these guys are really experts in assessing, the future potential of a coin, right? I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Actually, for Binance, BNB is its token, right? BNB is just like a dividends of the company. Although you can use BNB to vote your favorite project,
Right.
But it's not useful because most of the BNB are holding by some people centralized. So your vote is not useful.
I mean, to me, it seems just like I mean, because I didn't even know about Fcoin, whatever these schemes, okay. But when I saw that, it's actually I mean, I didn't like it that much, of course, because it seems like they're already making big money, but still they want to make more money.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah. And I think if the platform they want to decentralize themselves, firstly they should give back their private key to the users, and they should give back more power to the users, like voting and the dividends of the company, and they should make the system more balanced. They should let the right person to do the right thing, like voting. When we talk about list some new coins, there must be some experts to do the work, not everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what about you? I mean, are you thinking about that kind of system for the users?
Actually, we do give these voting rights to some experts. So now we have like 20 third-party partners. They are all like law firm, audit company, and due diligence companies, and they are the experts in the market. We will give them the rights to vote to the different projects, and we will listen to their opinions on this projects and how do they think about the risk of the projects and the futures of this company.
And then they get paid by it as a reward by your coin, or how do you pay them?
Yeah, they were paid by DEX.
Okay.
DEX.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's part of DEX then.
Yeah.
All right. Just to summarize, okay, it's for my personal needs. So DEX is like, I mean, basically what you're doing is actually, you're transferring the wallet of the exchange to a decentralized system.
Yes.
Did I put it right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make clear for the audience because it's not a very easy, simple, concept because they should understand it. Do you have any last words to the audience?
So I think before you enter this market, whether you are an investor or you're an entrepreneur in blockchain industry, you should always know that a private key is most important, and you should not give it just to anyone. And also you should know the basic technology knowledges when you're getting into this industry. So learn more and learn everything.
I think that's most important. All right. Thank you very much for the time you've given to us today. And goodbye, guys. This was Tom from TomKuLive, and get ready for the next challenge. Bye, guys.